Hey, what's up guys? Happy Friday. Welcome back to the channel. This week I'm going to talk about what it's like being the RA/head RA on campus. I've been an RA for the past 3 years of my college career, so sophomore year to senior year, and I just kind of want to go over that, my sort of reflections on it, and give you guys the lowdown so you can decide if it's something you're interested in when you go to college. Enjoy. Okay, so I want to start out with the application process. Now this is something that currently I am leading, but something I had to go through a few years ago. So when I started, wanting to be an RA, they advertised sort of all over the school, and I never even thought about it until my friend and I went to lunch one day, and on the cafeteria table was a nice little trifold that said, "Join the Hive," and it said, "Do you want to be an RA? Well, here's the meeting times, here's all this stuff." And my friend and I, we talked about it. We were just sitting there making a couple of jokes like, haha, join the Hive. But we actually both went to one of the meetings and both decided, you know what? This doesn't seem like it's that bad. Why don't we apply and check it out? So my RA wasn't like really a person who pushed me to it. He was actually someone who, honestly, I never really heard from, and I didn't know him well. I knew his name. He did not know my name. And he wasn't really around. He never did any hall programs for it, even though you're required to do a couple every single semester. But, he wasn't really there for me all the time. And while I was an adult, so I didn't really need someone there for me all the time. It is always nice to have someone who's sort of a veteran at the school that you can look up to and count on. And I didn't have that my first, I'd say, year of being a college student. Now, and that's not me bashing him or anything. I think he was a great guy. He had a lot of things going for him, but being an RA wasn't his top priority, and it doesn't have to be for everybody. So the application process is kind of weird, and it varies by school, but here we apply, we go through a couple of interviews, we do a thing called group process, which we're actually doing 2 days from now, from when I'm recording this video. We're doing 2 days from now where all of the applicants and current RAs gather up, and we run them through sort of like little simulation exercises and interviews and just little group activities that we put them through to sort of find out if they're good candidates for the position or not. And this is a very important part of the process because as an RA, you're gonna have a lot of different duties, and there is the possibility, a very real possibility, that something serious will happen during your RA career. Serious things have happened in my RA career. I will not talk about them whatsoever. I have full confidentiality of those, which is also another important thing about being an RA. You have to keep secrets, but full confidentiality. Serious things have happened in my RA career, and without the proper training and sort of the mindset of being able to put yourself in that spot, then I'd say being an RA isn't really a thing. It really isn't really a thing if you don't have that drive to do so. But if you have the drive to help people, the drive to have some fun and meet a lot, I can't stress enough, a lot of new people, and sort of let them lean on you a little bit, then yeah, absolutely go for this. And if you consider yourself a leader in any capacity, even just a beginning leader, intermediate, whatever, definitely do it, because this is a leadership position through and through. For my first group process, the first activity we did is we had to come up with our own dorm and design it ourselves. And so I kind of took control in the first one, which was really cool to see that I stepped up as a leader, and I didn't shoot down anybody's ideas. I took them in, and I would say was like, okay, who can draw? Here you go. Here's a marker for you. And break. What do we want it to look like? And someone would shoot me an idea, and I'd say, okay, awesome. Why do we want it to look like that? And just kind of go through that process and throw that creativity down. And we ended up designing this square dorm with a couple different towers that's for freshmen. And we put a bunch of different things in the rooms. There were 4 rooms on each floor and 4 floors, so there was 16 rooms, 32 residents total. There was a bathroom between. They were all suites. It was a really fun activity, and we played around a little bit. In each room, I think we had a $10,000 vase. There was no budget, they said. So there was a $10,000 vase in each room, and if you break it, you're not responsible enough to go to school and you get kicked out. So just little fun things like that we got to play around with. And group process overall was just a really, while yes, stressful at first, was a time that I got to show myself and prove to myself, hey, I could totally do this thing. Like, I can be a leader, I can be creative, and it was a lot of fun. Like, I enjoyed it. And when I left, I can't tell you, I was freaking out. I was like, I hope I did good enough. I hope they liked me. I hope it was fine. But in the end, I did my interview. You know, you dress up all nice, go talk to the directors of housing and assistant directors, however your school does it. And then a couple weeks later, you'll hear back. Now, I waited, and I did hear back. And what do you know? I was the RA of the same building I was already living in. So the next semester, I would be the RA of Salisbury Rowan, which is a dorm on Catawba's campus, in one of the towers there. So awesome. Nothing to worry about. I got it. Now, being an RA, seeing it from both perspectives, I remember freshman year, I kind of thought like the RAs are out to get people, you know, they're like the cops on campus. That is not what being an RA is about whatsoever. Being an RA is really just being a regular student, except you have a bit more time invested in, say, an office or doing rounds. Rounds, for those of you who don't know, are, so, well, this is gonna sound weird because I just said we weren't cops, but it's like a patrol of sorts. So a couple times a month, you and a partner will have to sort of go around the campus and just make sure everybody's okay and alive. Not knocking on the door or anything, but you will check like certain community spots to make sure everybody's okay. And it's not bad, it's cool. Things happen all the time. You know, you call the person who you're supposed to, whether it's the public safety or the dean on call, or in very rare cases, the police, you know. So you go around the campus and do that. And this is the time where you're gonna get to know your other RAs very well. And depending on your level of community and your staff, this could be what makes or breaks like your like family feel. So if you've ever been part of like a team, a marching band, a baseball team, you know, whatever, those are things I've done before, so I can relate to them. But if you've ever been part of a team, you know that spending enough time with them, you do start to get sort of those like bonds. So those family bonds start to grow, and you start to become, you know, attached to the other people in your group. And depending on the chemistry of everybody, you might bounce off each other very well or very poorly. So my first year as an RA, I can't express to you how amazing the chemistry was between everybody. It was awesome. I loved it so much. And I think I would say that I went above and beyond expectations as an RA because I was new. I felt like I had something to prove, and I really strived to be a good RA. Now, and that's not saying anything about my last 2 years. We had a leadership switchover, so our director of housing got moved to another office. We got a new director of housing, and these past 2 years have been great. Like, I've enjoyed being an RA. There are other things that have had to go on, but specifically I want to get into what it's like to be the head RA, which is different compared to being a just regular RA. So head RAs are sort of regular RAs, but they work in the office. So I work 10 hours a week in student affairs, and I also have like extra duties I have to tend to. I lead a whole lot of sessions and put on events for the other RAs that a lot of people don't see. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that we do that's not really something public. You know, it's just like we meet together, we decide things. I get catering for every single thing. Like, that's my sole duty. All of the events we do, I have to work and order catering for. But it can be and has been very stressful being the head RA. I would say that I would do it again. I think I would do it again given the circumstances, but one big thing is the other RAs, if they aren't the kind that sort of bounce off you and have like that chemistry with you, like the person to person, a lot of people do think they can do your job better than you can, having never done your job. So a lot of times people will look at me and see that, okay, Seth orders food, and Seth spends 10 hours in the office, but what's he doing? Seth goes to meetings, Seth makes decisions, but they don't see what I do like behind the scenes fully. So just watch the staff and the people around you, and if you feel that you have great chemistry with your whole staff and that wouldn't be a problem for you, go for it. Being the head RA is cool, and it's an honor. It's a good resume builder. Check it out. I'm honored that I was picked to do it. But if you feel like maybe you struggle with some connections there, here and there and you're worried that, you know, people might talk behind your back a lot being the head RA, then maybe consider it, maybe don't consider it. I think that's really up to your personal preference. But some other cool things that we do are we hold programs. So I have a monthly program. Mine are typically more off the wall. I like to come up with really zany programs to do. So once I did a lemonade stand outside my building where I didn't sell lemonade, I just kept pouring it, and I sat in a stand in front of the door so nobody could come by unless they stopped with me and they got a cup of lemonade. I did another one where this month I'm doing a choose your own adventure. So I'm writing sort of like a pseudo D&D type thing where I'll read a story, and at certain points they'll have to make decisions to which I'll turn to different points in the story. I'm writing that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm going to tell it sort of in like a Dungeons and Dragons style way, which I do D&D a lot, so won't be an issue. And just a lot of fun little programs. I did a Friendsgiving, so my friends and I cooked a whole lot of food for the building and had a little Friendsgiving in our room. It's really, programs are whatever you want to come up with. Typically you'll have a budget, so I'll spend like my entire budget on one program, and then the other ones I'll kind of figure out what I want to do. But it's a really good time. I mean, I can't complain about programming. I can't complain about rounds. I actually have grown to quite enjoy rounds. It's good exercise for one, walking around all of campus, but it's also just like a time for you to build connections with the people that are around you. So yeah, I really like it. With that, guys, that's sort of like a brief explanation of the job as an RA. It's really up to you to decide whether you want to do it or not. Your school may have some different things that are involved, scholarship, whether you actually get paid. I know personally I just get a scholarship, but it's a pretty significant one. And other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you like the video, like and subscribe down below. Click that little bell to be notified, and I will see you guys next Friday.